All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions in biology, maybe in life, really. How do we age? And more importantly, can we do it better? Well, it turns out the key might be hiding in this incredible cleanup process that's happening inside your cells as we speak. So just imagine for a second, what if we could actually hit a reset button on ourselves? Just clear out all the junk that builds up over the years. It sounds like science fiction, right? But that's exactly the idea we're going to dig into today, all thanks to a new study that may have found a way to do just that. Okay, so to really get why this new discovery is such a big deal, we've got to understand the problem first. And it all starts deep, deep inside our cells, with a natural process that unfortunately just doesn't work as well as we get older. I want you to think of your cells like these little, bustling cities. When we're young, right, the sanitation department is top-notch, super efficient. But as we get older, that department, it kind of starts to slow down. And you guessed it, the trash begins to pile up. This cellular clutter is actually a huge reason we see age-related decline. Now, this cellular cleanup crew has a pretty cool official name. It's called autophagy. It literally means self-eating, which sounds a bit weird, I know, but it's amazing. The process basically hunts down damaged parts and other waste, breaks them all down, and then recycles the raw materials. It is absolutely essential for staying healthy as we age. And you can see the difference right here. It's pretty stark. On one side, you've got the young cell. It's clean, it's functional, all because that cleanup crew is on the job. But then you look at the aged cell. The whole process is slowed way down, and you see all this harmful junk, protein clumps, excess fats, just building up and making it harder for the cell to do its job. Okay, so that's the problem. But this is where the new research gets really interesting. See, scientists weren't content to just study the problem. They were actively looking for a way to kickstart that cleanup crew again. And guess what? They found a really promising candidate. They found the small molecule and they named it AA20. And its job is super simple but super important. Get inside the cell and tell the autophagy system, hey, time to get back to work. You can think of it like a powerful shot of espresso for that tired-out cellular sanitation department. So the very first test was on human cells in a lab. And the results, they were so promising. I mean, A20 did exactly what they hoped it would do. It fired up autophagy, and that helped clear out extra fats and cut down on the buildup of those really nasty protein clumps. A total success. Okay, so working on cells in a petri dish is one thing. That's a great start. But the real question is, does it work in an actual living creature? That, of course, was the next big step for the research. And for this kind of work, scientists have a favorite little subject, this tiny, transparent worm called C. elegans. Why a worm? Well, its short lifespan and relatively simple biology make it the perfect model for studying aging. So the moment of truth was here. Would AA20 work its magic in a whole animal, just like it did in those cells? And the answer was a huge, resounding yes. It worked. The molecule successfully switched on the autophagy process right inside the worm's cells. This was huge. It confirmed the basic idea worked in a living, breathing, wriggling animal. All right, so step one was a success. Next up, they had to check for that cellular clutter. And you guessed it, just like in the human cells, giving the worms AA20 led to a major drop in those toxic protein clumps. And it didn't stop there. It even helped reduce the worm's excess fat storage. So in all three key metrics, AA20 was knocking it out of the park. It was proving to be a fantastic tool for cellular housekeeping. But so what? What did all this deep cleaning actually do for the worms themselves? Now, this is where the story gets really, really good. Because look, improving how cells work is awesome, but the real holy grail here is seeing an actual impact on the health and, the lifespan of the animal itself. There's this saying in aging research that I just love. It's not just about living longer, but living better. You don't just want to add years to your life, you want to add life to your years. And that idea, that's what we call healthspan. Basically, how long you stay healthy and active. So, did it work? Oh, yeah. The results were just stunning. Worms that were treated with AA20 lived, on average, 17% longer. Now, that might not sound like a crazy number, but in the world of longevity research, that is a huge extension. It proved, flat out, that this cellular cleanup directly makes them live longer. But what about that health span, right? Were they just old, decrepit worms for longer? Nope.
The researchers measured a bunch of things that show how youthful a worm is. And check this out. Their movement got better, they were way better at surviving stress, and even their gut health, a really key marker of aging, was significantly improved. The takeaway here is massive. They weren't just living longer, they were healthier for longer. And here is the final crucial piece of the puzzle, the proof, really. The scientists then took worms that were genetically engineered to have a broken cleanup system, and they gave them AA20. The results? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No longer life, no health benefits. And that confirmed it 100%. All these amazing effects were happening specifically because AA20 was kicking that autophagy system into gear.
Okay, so this is obviously incredible news if you're a tiny worm. But now let's zoom out. Let's talk about the big picture and what this could all mean for the future of human health.
Well, the researchers who did this study point to two huge potential areas. First, diseases caused by those gunked-up proteins. Think conditions like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. And second, disorders where the body just accumulates way too much fat. The idea is that activating autophagy could be a powerful new way to treat these kinds of diseases.
So really, what this all boils down to is a powerful proof of concept. It's like a green light. It shows that developing drugs that can specifically go in and reboot our own natural cleaning systems, well, it's a real and, frankly, a very, very exciting strategy for helping us all age in a healthier way. Now look, we are a long, long way from this being used in people, of course. But this research just throws open such a fascinating door. And it leaves us with this really compelling question, doesn't it? Could the future of healthy aging not be about some brand new miracle drug, but about finding ways to simply reboot the incredibly powerful systems that are already built right into our own cells?